I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount.
I'm a guy who does his job. You must be the other guy.
You got a lot of problems, don't you?
Oh, it's good to be back.
I don't know. You don't know?
It means all those questions, though.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
You can't handle the truth!
We're back. We're alive. I need these four on my panel everywhere because Your List Sucks is booming on past episodes. We are on to new heights. This is an exciting time to be alive. But I'm not happy to be here. I'm not. Because we're getting into what makes these guys ticks with movies, and I don't think I'm going to be happy. Maybe this episode, I don't know, Kirk may return to the winner's chair. Koho's blonde hair might change. Everybody got like haircuts. They're all trying to look fresh. They're looking good, except Koho. Bowman, how you doing tonight?
I'm all right. I know I'm not going to win. So at this point, every week it's like, I know I'm close, but there's going to be one movie on there that's going to stop me. That's this week. At this point, you know what? I just accept it, and I get to have fun now.
Jake, I don't know if you like film. I still don't. I actually don't think you do. I think you just like passion projects. You still don't know how the show works. Hopefully this episode will change that. How are you feeling?
To be clear, I did not make any mistakes last week. My whole peculiar taste in film, it's an elaborate Andy Kaufman prank that I'm just putting on this entire community. So I actually really don't like movies. I'm just fooling everyone here. But I'm looking forward to this. Boatman says that he's just going to start having fun from 50 to 1. I've been having fun since 100 to 1. So that's the difference between me and Boatman. So I'm looking forward to this.
You haven't been beaten like Boatman in multiplex meetings from Cody, so that's why he's just now starting to have fun. Kirk,
what's up?
You've only lost 1 week.
I'm not happy about it.
That's because you picked movies that were just a little bit outside the space. Koho literally hit some personal favorites. How are you doing this week? Do you feel like you'll be back on top?
I'll be honest, I think it's my best chance to win for a while. I think the 30s and 40s may be a little bit of a skid for me. So I don't want to lose 2 in a row, and I don't want to go to a complete free fall. So this is an important week for me.
This is getting so successful, people are messaging me to be on the next top 100. I don't know if I'm going to take another break in between. I don't know. The demand is getting there. But Koho, couldn't do the show without you. Wish I could do the show without you. How you feeling?
I'm going to win for the entire list, and then we're going to hit 41, and I go instantly to last place, and I am totally prepared for this.
Oh, you're like your tag team partner, Cameron Holtzman.
I have one movie that is going to sink me in winning this episode this week.
Yes. So little peek behind the curtain. I am giving everybody it's kind of like a game, like a immunity necklace, something. I'm letting them opt one movie out to put one movie in that they overlooked or didn't think about. Can't be yikesed. Can't already be yikesed. Can't be already brought up by somebody. So they can't save it by putting Jurassic Park at 3. They don't get that safety net anymore. But I've heard some people are. I think a few might just stick true to their list. So we'll see what happens overall at the end. But Boatman, you know how the show works. You're going to start it off for us. Do we have a previous yikes list?
Yes, I have the yikes. No, I don't have the yikes list. I had the yikes list, and then I had to change it. Sorry.
Can't good help. All right, Boatman, take it away.
Bold of you to assume I know how this show works, but thank you for giving me that much credit.
I don't even know. 50 through 4. Oh, there's a new thing. It is introducing this week.
Great.
Everybody gets a sentence or 2 to talk about everybody's bottom half. So you're not safe anymore from everybody's thing. So let's go.
A role change. This will go great.
My 50. One of the most epic comedies ever made. It's a mad, 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 mad world. All right.
Andrew Barr, is that you?
My 49 is Steve Jobs.
I had that lower.
And 48 is Annie Hall.
That is such a Boatman.
Oh yeah, that looks like Boatman 3 movie.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's my list. Of course, it's going to be Boatman.
I know, but that was just perfect. If I picked 3 movies that described you, those are pretty close to the ones that I would. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I talked about it before with Blues Brothers. I love grand, large-scale comedies. This is definitely one of those. So many different characters. It's all of like the biggest comedic actors at the time, either in starring roles or in cameos, and it's super duper fun. I love Jonathan Winters as the truck driver. You have Sid Caesar, you have Milton Berle. It's just an amazingly stacked cast, and like the set pieces and what gets destroyed and everything, it's just so large and so grand and so crazy and so wild. It's so much fun. I really enjoyed this one. 49, Steve Jobs. Michael Fassbender is just giving a brilliant, brilliant performance, and it's Sorkin dialogue, so you gotta love it. Does Koho talk about it now, or do I wait?
Yeah, he talks about it now.
Yeah, I had this at 69. In retrospect, I probably would have had it higher. In retrospect, I think Fassbender's phenomenal, giving like a really great performance in the middle, at the center of 3 different events in his life, and like kind of showcases who he is as a person and the growth he had through the years, especially the cast around him. I think Seth Rogen's great as Wozniak. Kate Winslet should have won the Oscar in her supporting role in this as well. But yeah, phenomenal film. Not my favorite Sorkin, but very close.
Mm-hmm. And my 48, I think this is just an incredibly well-written movie. Annie Hall, the dynamic between Alfie and Annie is really great. I like the structure of this movie. I love the comedy in this and how many different types of jokes this movie makes. Like there's like that one segment that's just all animated like a Disney movie. The scene with Christopher Walken when he talks about wanting to drive into traffic is amazing. It's obviously Woody Allen, not a great person, but the actual movie I think is really well done.
Okay, Mad World. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. I don't really like it. I think it's I don't love the movie. It's long. I feel like I could cut 30 minutes off that movie and make it good, better in my eyes. But that's just my opinion on it. I know there's people that like it, especially Barr. But Barr is Barr, so I don't want to be like him. Next is Steve Jobs. This is the most confusing movie in this entire community for me. So when it came out, I saw it. I said, okay, that's okay. That's fine. Another Steve Jobs movie, no problem. Better than the Ashton Kutcher one. And then it like, now that I'm in this community, it's like flipping on a rocket ship. Are you kidding me? One of the best movies of all time. Blah, blah, blah. People keep talking about it. People read about it. I was like, I think it's fine. I don't ever go back to it. I think the overall movie's good, but I don't find it that fascinating that gets me back. I think the script works. The script's really good, but again, not one I go back to. And then Annie Hall. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this for personal reasons, I think, but I just haven't seen Annie Hall. So, real quick, do not talk for a long time because the shut up rule is in full effect. Boatman's bottom 3 thoughts.
I haven't seen Steve Jobs, Mad World, and Annie Hall are really good classic comedies. Real quick, I'm going to help out the trivia players. It's a big W.
I was
going
just
to come
going
up
to
at some point.
That's always the big trivia pickup from Mad World. I have not seen Mad World. I should. Stanley Kramer. He'll be used someday, probably. I like Steve Jobs. Need to see it again. I love Danny Boyle, but that's one I like. And anyhow, I think it's pretty good. But if you haven't seen it and you want to get into it, it's kind of tricky just because Woody Allen's not a good subject at the moment. But I like the film. So.
That's the reason I wasn't going to bring up, but that's personal reasons I'm not watching the film.
No, that's totally
which is totally fair. Yeah.
I saw that before. Like,
yeah, you saw it before. That makes sense. I'm not seeking out.
I watched 20 minutes of Annie Hall and I turned it off. It's not a Koho movie. And the only thing I know about It's a Mad World is I used it for the entirety of 2019 in promos. And I've never seen the movie, so there you
go. Also, do not try to steal it. There's only one person that cares about movies. It's Cody type movies. We're not doing Koho type movies. You're not getting a list on Letterboxd. Jake, go ahead.
My number 50 is Django Unchained.
Fucking yikes!
Okay, cool. I was worried Paul was gonna rip me a new one. Number 49 is There Will Be Blood.
That was yikes from me from earlier.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And my number 48 is Requiem for a Dream. Alright, so There Will Be Blood. I guess I'll talk about it first. Masterpiece, I always love PTA. Daniel Day-Lewis gives one of the most incredible performances in history of film. He's just phenomenal. His character is just so intricate and just kind of just interesting. You don't really see a character like this before. I've said it before. I really like character studies, and he's one of the best character studies of the 21st century. His relationship with his son HW, and then later on with his brother Henry, and kind of the situations that happened, and then the discovery of oil on land, and then of course what happens in greed and religion and all this sort of themes that really kind of get into. It also has an incredible score by Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, one of the best scores of the 21st century. Love this movie. It's brilliant. Number, you want to, Boatman, talk about it?
Yeah. So that was my 84. Jake said most of it. I just love the transformation of Daniel Plainview in this as he goes from driven and ambitious to straight out basically deranged by the end of it. The final confrontation is iconic for a reason, and I think Daniel Day-Lewis is just giving one of the best performances of all time.
And you're 48.
48 is Requiem for a Dream. Darren Aronofsky comes back. I do think this film's better than Mother. I will still stand for that, but this is like reefer madness of the 2000s in the sense that it just shows drugs to be terrible and horrible. And I remember watching this film just for the curiosity behind it, and it just is one of the most shaken films I've ever been after watching a movie. I felt incredibly sad. It's such a rise and fall story of just drug users, and looking at different perspectives of the drug users. You look at Ellen Burstyn's character. She just wants to lose weight, and so she's taking these medications, weight loss medication, and then the side effects, and she's taking too much. And then you got Jared Leto trying to make money, becoming a drug dealer, and then his heroin abuse. And it just all is in this hyper stylized, quick edited, 90-minute just train wreck of a story. And it's just also has top 5 favorite scores of all time. Clint Mansell's score is incredible. It just that creates that sense of chaos and paranoia that just slowly builds to the end of the movie. And I just think it's one of the best edited films ever, and it's just so brilliantly stylized.
Koho, just pay attention to the chat. Some people may need to go at some point, just a heads up. But overall, we'll go through this. Number 49, There Will Be Blood. Listen, I didn't think it was possible that PTA could make a good film. There Will Be Blood's one of them. I'll give you that. There Will Be Blood's a good movie. I really enjoy this film. Maybe because Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't know. I just think the overall movie is really... I don't know if... Again, I am not a fan of him, so I wouldn't say if this is the most PTA movie or this is a good, but it felt like one. It didn't feel like one to me, so that's why I fully was on board with it, and I really enjoyed it throughout. I know Koho hates it, but I think it's great. Or I thought you did. Maybe I'm wrong. Your next one, Cameron said it. I'll say it. Who Hurt You? I've seen this movie. I think this movie is fucking trippy. This movie is trippy. This movie I watched for a debate on best movie that uses drugs. I clearly won because I picked the right movie, because this movie, you feel like you are taking the drugs with them. It is, honestly, I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but it's almost the movie that I could almost answer, I think, any question from this movie. it has stayed with me so much from it. Just watching it one time, I think it's fascinating. I think I'm not saying everybody knows somebody, but like I've known people that have dealt with substance abuse, and like this movie tells like a honest, like hard, gripping story of it. And I think it's one of his best. I think it's not for everybody, but I think one time view is really good. What does everybody else think about his bottom three? Except bottom two.
Requiem for a Dream. I think it's an incredibly well-made movie. It's one I never want to watch again.
Requiem for a Dream, I have not seen, basically because all the reason Jake said and you said, Cody. I want to see it sometime, but it's one of those ones where I'm never in the right mindset when the opportunity comes up, and I know I got to be in the right mindset. And There Will Be Blood is a movie I liked. I just haven't revisited enough to really sink my teeth to. I think so. I just need to watch it more, and who knows, maybe show up with a list sometime.
Koho disappeared. Needs to change his face. He's no longer blue.
Sorry, my dog found a way to break in here, the little bastard.
Let the dog join. The cat always shows up for Kirk. We can have a whole animal party.
Well, she's
Boatman can be Dr. Doolittle. It'll be a fun time for all.
I've never seen Requiem for a Dream. I tried watching There Will Be Blood for the first time this year. I picked the wrong day to do it, and I got 20 minutes in. And I started dozing off, not because it was boring, just because I picked the wrong time to watch it, and I have never gotten back to it. So I need to. But I enjoyed the 20 minutes that I saw.
You motherfucker!
What?
You told me that you hated this movie and that I was...
Thank you!
That is not true. Not true whatsoever. I hate many PTA movies. This is not the one that I...
You got angry for me for putting this in one of our co-Oscars that we did during an Oscars game. You got mad at me.
I'll put out the fire. But I wasn't crazy. I knew that he did not like this film, and now I am vindicated. Kirk.
Okay.
I'm saying too much. Go ahead.
I definitely front-loaded my list here. My number 50 is The Graduate.
Beautiful.
No yikes. No yikes.
Well, congratulations.
I was going to say, you just had early tonight.
We can just wrap this up right here, right now. No need to move on for anybody else. Your winner.
That was my shot. My number 49 is Injustice for All. And my number 48 is Swingers. We'll get there. Okay, number 50, The Graduate. We've talked about it like around this movie a lot during the list. Dustin Hoffman is just amazing in this movie. I love that story of that kind of arrested development of on the cusp of adulthood and like wanting to be an adult but not knowing how, and then he tries to like play adult with Mrs. Robinson, and it just disastrous for him. Just so many like great, just to watch his character grow. Like he's that one you were talking about before, Cody, where he's like, I'm very nervous, I want to leave now, please. And then just watching him actually grow and like learn to understand it, be an adult and deal with his choices and man up and take responsibility for his actions. It's just such a beautiful movie and just such a well-told story. And so, just like I said, just a killer performance from Dustin Hoffman. My number 49, Injustice for All. I'm not a big fan of courtroom dramas or courtroom procedurals, but I love this movie because it's not just about the courtroom itself. It's about the impact that it has on the people involved in it, but on all sides. Al Pacino is so good in this movie. He plays that character so well that's an insider, but is still an outsider and sees what's going on, is the only one who realizes it, wants to change it and can't, and is just powerless. And just watching him struggle through that is such a beautiful thing. Great cast in this. Lee Strasberg coming back from Godfather 2, Al Pacino's old acting teacher is his grandfather. Jack Warden is the crazy judge. Jeffrey Tambor is the lawyer who kind of snaps, who can't take it anymore and just feels the weight of the tragedy they cause for people. Just a really great movie about the system and what it does, like I said, to everybody, not just the people who are the obvious victims of it, but just the toll it takes on the humanity involved altogether. And then my number 48 is Swingers. I saw your face, Boatman. This movie for me, I remember back a couple episodes ago, you guys were talking about Booksmart and how much you related to that movie. That's this movie for me. I lived through swingers. I lived through the swing dancing and the bowling shirts and the chain wallets and the beautiful babies. That was like right in my wheelhouse for that age at that time. It was such a quick moment in time. It was a very short era, and this is really the only movie that captures that. But beyond that, I love Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau in this. I think this is their best work together. I don't think either of them have ever been as funny together since. I love the relationship between these characters, the friendship that they build. Vince Vaughn's character could very easily just be a complete douchebag, but it's his love and his commitment for his friend that kind of makes him relatable and likable. So yeah, I just really love that movie.
Okay, so I'm gonna do something I haven't done before. So your 48 and 49 are two movies that I really want to see, but I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Now we'll get into the good thing. The Graduate. So I've said this before. So I went on a binge of Dustin Hoffman this year, and it has been one of my favorite rides of my entire movie-going experience. I absolutely love Dustin Hoffman. I think the man is brilliant. And this movie is one of the fastest movies that I think has ever jumped into like a top 20 position, in my opinion. I think this movie is absolutely 100% perfect. The ending is amazing. The beginning is the development of his character. I think he's good in this movie, but it's his supporting characters that are outstanding in this show. He is the delivery point between everybody, and how there were not more Oscars won from this movie. How it did not win Best Picture, really, because I've seen the movie that wins Best Picture. I understand why it wins Best Picture for the time that it was released, but The Graduate is overall the better film by a mile. I think this movie, like Dustin Hoffman in that beginning, I think you're trying to seduce me. If you say it one more time and turns around, I would really like to go home right now. It's so good. I can't wait to watch this movie again. I absolutely love this. Yeah, you definitely won this week. I don't think anybody else has anything that could even come close to what The Graduate is in my mind right now. Everybody, real quick on Kirk's bottom. And by the way, anything Rude said about number 50 will be held against you in a court of law.
I haven't seen any of these three.
Okay.
You saw the right? Okay.
No, I didn't get a chance to. I was going to.
Players I like. I just don't think I didn't think it was a Kirk movie, but now that I hear his argument for it, I get it. Yeah. Okay. The Graduate. So Cody knows this, I think. I didn't see The Graduate until about a month ago. It would have been on my list. It would have been around the 80 mark, the low 70s, high 80s mark. Because the rest of them is filled with movies I've watched more. That's about the highest a movie that I've only seen once is going to get. But ultimately, I think it's excellent. Like I said, it would have been on my top 100 had I seen it. But I also don't want to take anything out of my top 40 to put it in because that's a cop-out.
I think it's crazy how close me and Kirk align in movies. I'm just more generous with the star ratings than he is. Jake, what is
I haven't seen Swingers or Injustice for All, but Graduate I have seen. Kirk, I just have one word for you. Just one word. Ready? Masterpiece.
It's brilliant. Okay. I'll do a watch along with that movie with anybody anytime. Okay. Koho, bring us back down there.
Yay! My number 50 is a yikes from last week. Kirk's going to be happy. He gets to talk about it now. It's Hell or High Water. My 49 is the only James Bond movie to break my top 100 because it's the only one that I actually love a lot. It's Skyfall. And my 48 is Creed 2.
I really thought you were going to do From Russia with Love. So close.
So close.
So
50 Hell or High Water. I've never been a huge Westerns person. I've never got dug into the genre, but the ones that I have seen, modern or classic, I've enjoyed. And this is probably my favorite of the modern Western ones that I've seen. I think that Ben Foster's excellent. I think Jeff Bridges shouldn't have been nominated over Ben Foster, but he's still also very good. I really love the story. I think it's really brilliantly written. Only assholes drink Mr. Pibb. It's great. Go ahead, Kirk.
Yeah, just piggyback off that relationship between the brothers is so good, and Ben Foster's character, just that guy who kind of just knows what he is and has accepted what he is, and he's never really going to make anything of himself, and he just kind of living with that. Like that scene in the casino where he's like, Comanche means enemy of everybody. It's like, what that makes me is like an enemy. He's like, no, it makes me Comanche. Just that like self-awareness that character has is so good, and just everything he does from that, and still that love he has with his brother and the affection they have, despite being so different. It's such a great relationship, and it's just such a great like spin on like the heist movie. I just love how Texas it is. Like, just they go and rob a bank, and everybody's waiting to shoot at them when they come out. That is so fantastic. It's a really good movie, yeah, and it's just a really good modern Western.
Absolutely. My number 49, Skyfall. I think this one is so different from the rest of them, but still honors everything that came before. I'm outwardly spoken, I'm not a Bond fan. I don't really love the Moore era. I don't really love the Connery era. There's not really an era I latch onto. And then we got to Daniel Craig, and I like how they kind of took him in that direction. I think Skyfall kind of puts it all in one beautiful movie. I think Javier Bardem is an excellent foil for the movie. The glass on the head scene with the pistols is incredible. I think Deakins shoots this movie phenomenal. Should have won his first Oscar for this. It's framed beautifully, and Thomas Newman's score is excellent. And the song is obviously what it is. It's Adele. But this is the Bond film I go back to more than any other. And Creed 2. What can I say about this movie? It stars one of the greatest actors of our generation, Andrew James Barr. It is a great sequel. This movie could have easily been cheesy and been really one note and over the top. But I think they found the right direction and the right approach to parallel Adonis with Victor Drago and their lives and their upbringings and their sort of parallel tracks. And then also to give Ivan and Rocky their own little sort of side issues to deal with each other, and the way that they also kind of parallel. The fights are directed excellently. These have some of my favorite fights in the entire Rocky series, the way that it's shot and the way that you just feel the hits. There are many times in some of these fights where I feared for Adonis Creed in the fight, and especially the first time they fight. And the training montage out in the desert is amazing. One of my favorites. Me and Cody have had this debate. I think it's the best montage.
I love that we've been friends for so long that you even take jabs at me when you're delivering the movies. Fair. Hell or High Water was my favorite movie of that year. I absolutely love. I love the Western genre. I just haven't gotten into it as much as I need to. I think my biggest problem is I don't know where to start, really. Like, what are the ones to go to? What's the ones that I would actually enjoy? Which ones are not 4 freaking hours long? Like, that may be my problem. But Hell or High Water was perfect. He stole my Mr. Pip line. I absolutely quote that thing probably weekly in this community, especially with these guys. Like, I think that line's great. The scene in the restaurant was like, she's cooking steaks, or we only have steaks and they're only cooked medium rare. She's like, you think anybody tries to rob her? Hell no. It's just so good delivery throughout that. Because it's so Texas. Like, you're like, that lady was just picked up. Like, she works at that diner. Like, they filmed there, and she actually works there. Like, that's how it's felt in that movie. Great movie. Great placement, too. 50 is perfect for it. Your next one is Skyfall. Skyfall... As somebody that is trying to find his love for cinema again as my walk through Bond, because Roger Moore sucks, especially for his last 3 or 4. Stop making this suck. Bond, I haven't got to Skyfall on my rewatch yet, but the last time I watched Skyfall, it's the second best in the Craig for me. I like Casino Royale because I like poker, but the overall, this movie is insane. That first scene alone is crazy. Is insane how it goes and how it ends. You're like, what's going on? Javier Bardem, they took an Academy Award winning actor, made him the villain, and didn't waste him in this movie like they do in the next one. It is perfect. The glass scene is brilliant. The glass scene is literally one of the best shots. And your next one, Creed 2. Creed 2 is good. It is arguably, I think I've said it, I love Rocky. Rocky is something that I hold near and dear to my heart. It's one of my favorite movie franchises, even though a lot of them are not that great. They're just fun for me. Creed passes all Rockies just because the story of Donnie is better than Stallone. He just has more emotional weight to him as a character. His father's dead. He's trying to remake his thing, all this stuff. The ending sucks of this movie. I hate the ending. I will stand by it. I hate the ending. Stop trying to redeem Drago. He's a douchebag. You didn't make me care. I'd rather have Donnie knock him the fuck out than him throw the towel in like a bitch. I hate it. Still takes me out every time. Takes me out. Takes me out. You can't redeem Drago. He literally killed his father, beat his ass, was what I want.
I have a question, question, Cody. Have you found Andrew James Barr in this movie yet?
Yes, and he's the worst.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so everybody on Koho's walk through the 2010s.
That's true. This is a walk through the 2010s.
I kind of want to point out that Creed and Skyfall are very similar movies in that they are, franchises that started a long, long time ago that had very campy elements. And then they had like a darker reboot. And then the sequel, which kind of tries to blend the darker reboot with the more campier elements. Because I think that's what Creed 2 and Skyfall both do. And I just think that's interesting. Yeah.
Thank you.
I like Creed 2 a lot. I think Creed 2 is great. I'm not really big into sports movies, spoiler alert. But I do like Creed 2 a lot. There's a lot of like family emotional drama, especially with Creed and his Adonis and his and Tessa Thompson and then unborn child and what happens there. I think is really cool and interesting. Something we haven't really seen before. And Skyfall, I love. I'm a big Bond fan. I remember seeing this movie in theaters for the 50th anniversary, and it was a great experience. I like Casino Royale more. I think it's one of the best Bond movies, and that Adele song is a banger. And I can't remember what the other one was. Hell or High Water. I love Hell or High Water. I think if I watched it again, it would make my top 100. I think Ben Foster should have won the Academy Award, if I'm being perfectly honest. I love him in that movie. He's one of my favorite actors, honestly. Been a big fan of him for a while, and I love when he says Lord of the Plains. That's my favorite quote from the movie. I know Michael Campbell's upset that I said that again, but it's so good. Lord of the Plains.
I like Creed 2. I like Creed. I really, really like Creed, the first Creed. That's probably my favorite Rocky movie. So saying I like that better than Creed 2 isn't necessarily an insult. Skyfall, I really love. That's my favorite Craig. I'm not a fan of the Craig Bond movies, and my biggest problem with them is just how ugly they are. And they bring in Deakins, and that movie is gorgeous. That is the best-looking Bond movie ever. So, yeah, that's a good pick.
Just before we get going, Garth, Brooklyn, Nazario, Adelaide, we have a ton of people in back and forth. I appreciate everybody coming in, watching. Diaz was here, Holtzman, Joseph. Scott Harvey. I just wanted to touch on him. I didn't talk to him before this, so yeah, keep throwing hate at Koho. That'd be great. Boatman, take us on a walk.
Okay, we're gonna go now to my 47. It was a yikes from earlier. It is Adaptation.
I'm going to go take a nap.
Okay. I think this movie is just really, really cool and interesting. I love seeing basically the movie be written as we're watching the movie. I think that's super interesting. I think Nicolas Cage is legitimately giving one of his best performances ever, if not his number one best. As both Donald and Charlie. I love the dynamic between Donald and Charlie. Charlie being the more reserved, insecure, anxious. Donald being less talented, less intelligent, but he's able to put himself out there and just get things done. And I think that dynamic is super interesting. Brian Cox as Robert McKee is fascinating. And just the Chris Cooper won the Oscar deservedly. It's just a fantastically well-crafted movie.
I had this. I think I had this. It's at 71. Yeah, I love this movie for everything Boatman just said. Charlie and Donald Kaufman are like me representation in film. Like, there's part of me that's I want to make the crazy art shit and the love of art films, and also being super insecure. And then there's the part of me that wants to make just the wacky genre type of stuff, and also kind of out there. It's just perfectly love both characters. They're two of my favorite characters in film history. I really love the fact that like Charlie Kaufman is a genius. I'm sorry, Koho, but he is a freaking genius behind this movie. After being John Malkovich, they said, "We want you to adapt The Orchid Thief." It's like, there's no story. I don't know what the hell to do. It's about plants. You know what? I'm going to make a film about Charlie Kaufman, a character trying to adapt The Orchid Thief, and there's also a fictional twin brother that he created. It's insane. I just love just meta narratives like that, and this is one of the best meta films you can see. And also the fact that, this fun fact, Donald Kaufman, a fictional character, was nominated for an Academy Award for this movie.
I didn't get a chance to watch this. It's not streaming anywhere. I looked for it. If Boatman tells me a movie from 1997 and on, I trust him fully. If he tells me anything in the 2000s, I'm hesitant. Not saying I would hate it, but I'm hesitant because we don't normally agree that side of the fence. We agree we could almost agree on everything beyond. So I will check it out one day. Maybe if it comes onto a streaming, I will definitely look for it. Just haven't seen it. Everybody else on Adaptation.
I saw this for the first time a year or so ago, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I really like that. Just like he was saying that, like, there's just the meta aspect of it, of him actually putting himself, creating a character of himself in the movie. I love the scene where he's on set filming, being John Malkovich, and John Cusack just walks by randomly. Just like just a quick thing that just happens. I just really love how deep and how crazy it gets. I really like Chris Cooper in this movie. I think he's really good. I like this movie.
I go back and forth with this and being John Malkovich, which is my favorite Kaufman. I really like both of them a lot. I think Kaufman, when he has something to say and has a very clear way of saying it, is a brilliant writer. And when he gets tangled up in his own bullshit is where he falls apart. And he's done it twice, from what I'm watching, where he's had pretty solid missteps. The rest of his filmography I really enjoy. Adaptation's really good. Nicolas Cage should have won the Oscar. He's phenomenal in this movie. Meryl Streep's really good. Chris Cooper's excellent, and I'm so glad he actually did win the Oscar. It's brilliant. It's a lot of fun. I was very hesitant through the first half of this movie. I was like, where are we going? And then it kind of takes a turn. And I was like, oh, I'm all in at the turn. Yeah.
Did you say Schenectady, New York was your favorite? Is that the one you wanted, or which one?
Oh, absolutely. That movie is the brilliance of cinema, and I'm an idiot for not liking it.
Yes. I bought it on 4K, and I'm sending it to you.
Thank you. It makes good firewood.
What's your next one?
My 46 is a movie that I'm pretty sure you watched because it was on my list, or at least partially because it was on my list, and I'm glad you liked it. Doubt. Yeah. This film is just an incredible, tight drama. You get 4 of the greatest actors working at the time. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Meryl Streep, Amy Adams, Viola Davis, all at the top of their game, absolutely killing it. And just this intense drama that does not give you any easy answers. It's basically about this nun who thinks this priest might have taken advantage of a young altar boy, but there's doubt. And that's the whole crux of the movie. And the dialogue and the back and forth. And it's not just that, because there's all these other motivations and themes behind it, because it takes place in the 60s. And there's like racial stuff going on. There's stuff about women's rights. There's all this stuff going on in the background. And it's such an incredible, but it's still this tight narrative just following these characters. And it's absolutely incredible. Philip Seymour Hoffman is giving a brilliant performance. Everyone is giving a brilliant performance in this movie. It's based on a stage play. The movie does not feel like a stage play, which is impressive.
This movie made me effing sick to my stomach. I'm going to be honest with you. Bowman warned me. I watched The Player and I watched Doubt back to back. I watched The Player first. I should have watched Doubt first. And he goes, I said, it's before I go to bed. He goes, I would not go to bed on Doubt. And I was like, Bowman, what are you talking about? I'm fine. I literally sat on my couch for like 2 hours afterwards and was like, you have doubt. I have fucking doubt. I have no idea what the hell I'm feeling. Like, I am upset. I am emotionally moved. These 4 actors, because I'm also, if you're an actor and your last name's Hoffman, there's a great chance that I will really like you. And that entire scene, I was just like, it broke me. It broke me. It's not Graduate level because I feel like I can watch The Graduate anytime. But Doubt is one of those special watches that if you have not seen it and you don't know anything about it, watch it because it's a masterpiece. I think it's brilliant. Viola Davis kicks the shit out of this movie. She's not even in it. She's not even in it. She's not even in a total of 10 minutes of runtime. She's great.
Yeah, I saw Doubt for the first time this year, also mostly at Boatman's beckoning, and I double featured it with Defending Your Life. I did the inverse of Cody. I started with Doubt and ended with Defending Your Life. That's a killer double feature. But this movie's brilliant. I think it's one of the most underappreciated and maybe overlooked movies from 2008, especially in a year that I think is, when you look at the Oscars, a pretty lackluster year in terms of what actually walked away with awards. And I think this is one that could have walked away with several. It's hard. Philip Seymour Hoffman is in maybe one of the most stacked supporting actor years ever. It was Heath Ledger's award. He also has Robert Downey Jr. and Tropic Thunder against him. But Hoffman's brilliant. Meryl Streep should have freaking won. She's brilliant. Amy Adams and Viola Davis are both great. Viola Davis is giving a one-scene wonder performance if there ever was one. I'm still shocked that this movie didn't get as much attention back then. But it's brilliant. It's moving. It makes, like Cody said, makes you sick to your stomach, and you still don't know what the answers are at the end of it.
I have not seen Doubt, but funny story. Over this past weekend, my wife and I were trying to pick a movie to watch, and we landed on Joe versus the Volcano. I hadn't seen that movie in like 20 years. So just out of curiosity, I looked up the director. Just who is this guy? What else has he done? John Petruccelli made his directorial debut in 1990 with Joe versus the Volcano, directed his second movie 18 years later, 2008, and that movie was Doubt. And I was very surprised to see that.
Also won an Oscar for writing Moonstruck. I have not seen this movie, unfortunately. I would like to go see this. Just need to find time, need to be in a certain emotional state. Also, what the hell is happening with the chat right now? Because it's confusing me like the heck out of me. I
feel like this is what happens when, back when Koho and I would try to ruin Rankum.
If Brooklyn wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm going to be in the live chat. I'm going to do a chapters book in there that no one gives two shits, and then everybody else completes with it.
It's always
what happens.
It only
he's
happens
probably
drinking.
drinking.
Only if Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's probably drinking. It's something they
well,
did.
He's playing the drinking game. He's doing the wireless drinking game. So.
Well, yeah. Cody
really.
loses it and yells at chat. Finish your drink and go home. Go to the next one.
All right, my 45.
They're all in a StreamYard too, so they're all just chit-chatting.
My 45 is one of my favorite crime movies, The Sting. I love the dynamic between Paul Newman and Robert Redford in this. They're two of the best actors, and when they work off of each other, it's absolutely excellent. Basic plot of this movie is they are trying to pull off a con in order to get revenge on a person who ended up killing one of their friends. So it's a very intricate, complicated con that's really cool, and the way everything is executed, you don't really know exactly what's going on until the very, very end, and it's super duper cool, super duper stylized. The music is great, and I absolutely love it.
So, fun fact about The Sting, this is a movie that I wanted to watch, but I didn't know if I'd like it, and I thought it was streaming somewhere, but I may have been mistaken. I thought it was streaming somewhere. It turns out it wasn't.
I would have bought it for you to watch on my Voodoo.
Man, there's so many things you'll buy from me. I love it. I will check it out though. I think I'll like The Sting. I've heard great things about The Sting. So I will definitely check it out. Everybody else on The Sting, Koho, get out of the way.
Drink, haven't seen it.
I saw it once a long time ago. I really liked it. If I watched it more, it'd probably be a lot higher on my overall list. But yeah, the music is great. That version of The Entertainer from this is really solid. They use it in really cool ways. So good movie. Good pick, Boatman.
It sounded like something Kirk would actually have had on his list. I'm surprised. All right, take us home.
My 44, another giant crew assembling together to complete a con, but this time it's a heist, and this time it's Danny Ocean, Rusty Ryan, and Linus Caldwell. It's
our Lord and Savior. The First Order's Lord and Savior.
The Soderbergh guy doesn't have it. That makes me
Yeah, I know. Just
ooh, that's a little rough. Okay.
That makes me sad. I like this movie. Yeah, this movie is just so cool. It's so cool. The split screen, the mask flip. It's just so fun. Like everything about it. Just I can't watch this movie without smiling. It's impossible. I love these actors working off each other. Yeah, you can say Don Cheadle's accent is bad because it is, but you know what? Who cares? It's Ocean's 11. The dynamic between these are just some of the most entertaining actors working off of each other. The way that they plan, it's such a perfectly well structured and well paced movie because everything it's like, okay, we're gonna show you this, we're gonna show you this. It keeps it moving, keeps it entertaining. I just love it so much.
Oh, this movie, this trilogy. Say what you want about the second one. I'm not a big fan of the second one, but the other two I think are honestly, I'm with Boatman. I think this is like one of those perfect, like, we should have done this for watch along, really. This one just plays to watch along. It's so much fun with the different characters. I think Carl Reiner, he just passed away, but I love him in this movie. I think he's just brilliant as Saul, where you're like, what? And he like acts like he's like this big, like, how dare you? Like, it's so funny to me. Bernie Mac, like the overall character list is so massive in this. And like Brad Pitt is brilliant in this film. He really is. Like he's walking to his car and it explodes. He like has to turn around. Like, all right, well, it's time to go.
That's 12.
That's 12. Okay, sorry, they mixed together.
But him snacking on the chips. Brad Pitt eating the chips.
Oh yeah, it's While they're all trying to break him, he's just chomping on chips the entire time. So yeah, I absolutely love the trilogy. Great choice. Everybody else on Ocean's 11.
Get going.
Okay. I saw Ocean's 11 when I was like 15 or 16 once a long time ago. I watched all three, and I think my personal favorite of the three might be 13. That one's really fun, but it's been a long time since I've seen them. I need to go back and watch them again.
I love Steven Soderbergh. Everybody knows this. It's weird because I think Ocean's 11 and Pirates of the Caribbean are two of the most, as far as modern 21st century, the two best quintessential blockbuster films.
Stop buttering me up, you bitch.
I'm just saying that both of those perfectly represent what Hollywood could be by making these type of movies, but instead they turn to shit. But these two just perfectly encapsulate what Hollywood can be and just making just perfect big budget films. And I think they're incredibly entertaining. I love Ocean's 11. I think it's great. I just need to see. I would like to see it as more as I have already have. It just hasn't clicked with me in the sense that it has been on. It's been on my top 100 before, like years ago, but it just hasn't. I'm not during this time where I'm looking at other films and stuff. It's one of those things that was really hard to think about, and I do love this movie a lot, but it's not
Jake,
the top one.
Did you say 13 was shit?
What? No.
Did you say Ocean? I thought you said where like their series and they go to.
Oh, they're Hollywood
Pirates
blockbuster movies. No, I'm just specifically talking about these
Marvel.
as like quintessential movies. No,
he's dog whistling Marvel.
Also, I'd like to point out that somebody spoke of somebody's Lord and Savior, and Michael Campbell has appeared in the chat. So it has awoken him. His Lord has been talked about. He is good to go. Kirk, go ahead.
Yeah, Boatman's right. This movie's cool, but it's trying so hard to be cool. This movie just reeks of effort, which is like the exact opposite of the original Ocean's 11. Like they try to take all the cool stuff that was happening off screen in the original and force it into the movie. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie.
You're never going to win. You're the sucks now. Never going to
But I mean, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's just not something that I love.
Well, I appreciate you not saying it's terrible because you would lose this episode. All right, Jake. We haven't heard Crank. Is this the third one we don't know? Death Race? Is Death Race
I
on
think
the
I'm
list?
actually done with the over
Transporter? Where's it coming?
I've never seen Transporter. My number 47 is one of my favorite comedies of all time. It is a film that just has layers upon layers of jokes, and everybody knows in this community there are the few films that I love to quote and reference. A big part of that was my former partner. It is The Other Guys.
Oh, never gonna win your list.
What fucking film? Adam McKay's best movie. I don't care what people say. He actually gives a shit when making this movie. Hey,
Jake.
My fucking turn to speak.
And I will mute you. Shut the fuck up. Go ahead and continue. You are messing up big time right now.
I will say, when I first saw this movie in 2010, I took my dad to go see it. It looked like a fun movie. I didn't really like it. A lot of the jokes kind of went over my head. Didn't really fully get like the plot of what was going on. The stuff that I laughed was stuff that was in the trailer. And then I gave it a couple years, came back to it, watched it. I was like, it's pretty fun. I actually kind of digging this. And then third time I saw this, like a year after that, I had some friends over. We just watched it, and we just kept rewinding through certain scenes because they were just so hilarious to us that we just kept watching them over and over again. Specifically, the scene with Sam Jackson and Dwayne Johnson when they aim for the bushes. We had to rewind that like 10 times because it was just so funny to watch. I love every joke in this movie. It sets up so many jokes. TLC sets up Bed Bath & Beyond, his wooden gun, and then it pays it off all, and it's just... I just love everything about this movie. It creates that dynamic that I really like between Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, and I think this really just shows like the dynamic they had. I mean, then they made other films after this. This is the one that really just puts them together. That's a good reference. I like that guy. Thank you. Yeah, this is one of my favorite comedies. I can watch this any other day and be entertained. If you want to see more of my thoughts, watch the watch along that me, Boatman, and Adelaide did. It was fun. Good stuff. Yeah, I think this film's hilarious.
Anchorman, Talladega Nights,
Yeah.
Step Brothers, all three better movies than the other guy. Well, sure, but I'm not considering that like the full slapstick. This is offensive that you would even say that about Adam McKay. This movie's dumb. This movie is stupid.
Not as dumb
This
as
movie
Talladega Nights.
Anchorman. I watched Anchorman 2 over the weekend with Twohig and Tim, and I don't like that movie, and I like it better than this movie. Yeah, trash, utter trash. And Gator don't take no shit. Well, guess what? Gator took a shit on this movie. It's just so like, it's when Will Ferrell just stopped caring, like instantly stopped caring and just made movies that this. And then they're like, oh, we'll put you The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. Everybody will laugh. Nope, no, thank you. I'll pass. Hard pass. And this is coming from the guy that just had to watch Anchorman 2, where that last scene takes on for 75 minutes of the runtime. Yeah, this movie's bad. I just don't understand you. Requiem for a Dream. Other guys? Okay. You live in a glass case of emotions. Oh, that's from Anchorman. That's a lot funnier than watching everybody else on Other Guys.
I've never seen The Other Guys, but I've also never seen someone fuck up a turn on your list sucks so bad as to look at Cody and say it's my motherfucking turn to speak, and Cody's eyes just go fucking black. That was insane.
I literally just felt like my 10-year-old just told me, no, I'm not doing that. Excuse the fucking.
I actually think this movie's kind of funny. Well, you're not wrong, but also like I think it's funny. I like a lot about this movie. I think this is Will Ferrell like doing. I really like what he's doing in this. I think the School of Tuna scene hits differently now, but like it's a good scene.
Pour one out.
Yeah, pour one out.
When you say School of Tuna, I can't think of the movie. Unfortunately, I just have to go back to what was originally and what will never be.
There goes my hero.
Okay.
I like it. It's fun. It's got its moments. I definitely don't think it's best Ferrell. I don't think it's best McKay. Comedic Mark Wahlberg, I can only get on board with so far. I like it. I don't love it. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be top 100 terrible for me, but it's okay.
Well, we started off really strong, Jake. Let's see how we end.
I honestly think that may be the worst one on my list, but we'll see. So I'm going to be talking about a trilogy. So I'll just talk about them all at once, and then we'll move over to Kirk. So talking about my favorite trilogy ever, I rewatched this last night. It is the Kowalkowski's Three Colors trilogy: red, white, and blue, or as in France, it's blue, white, red. So I'll talk in order just chronologically. Blue, each one deals with a certain theme. Blue deals with depression, white deals with divorce, and red deals with surveillance, privacy. Blue is about a woman who loses her husband and daughter in a car accident, and kind of her connections and her just basically cutting all ties with any connection. She sells her house. She buys a small little apartment. She can't seem to connect with other people anymore after the accident. All the more while people are trying to get the last piece of music written and trying to finish it, and also she doesn't want to give it away because it's her husband's, and also it's no longer his property because he's dead. So it's like there's this whole dynamic, and it's kind of Juliette Binoche is just incredible in this movie. She gives one of the best performances of her career. It's just a woman just dealing with all sorts of just anxiety and depression, and just it's a sad movie. The color blue is just so perfectly used throughout the movie. They're very stylized. It's not just tinted, like the production design is filled with the color of the movie, and there's so much just gorgeous looking blue in this movie. With white, it's basically a divorce comedy, anti-comedy. It's about a Polish immigrant who gets divorced by his wife, played by Julie Delpy, and he moves back to Poland. He doesn't have enough money, so he has to sneak in through a suitcase, and then he gets stolen, and then he gets beaten up. He finds work at a barbershop, and basically his rise. Hi, Dougie. He makes his rise as a businessman, and eventually his revenge against his wife. It's kind of a weird one. It's the weakest of the three, but I still think it's great. And also the use of white is also brilliant. There's a great shot of a wedding, and it's just like this giant white glow throughout the scene. It's just perfectly done. The guy who plays his name's Carol, which is kind of funny. He's really good in the movie, and I like everything about that one. And then Red is one about a model student. She finds a dog. She accidentally hits a dog on the street, finds the owner, and he is basically using a radio to spy on his neighbors when they're during phone conversations, and discover secrets about them, and kind of the relationship between the two. It doesn't become intimate or romantic. It's just kind of an anti-romance film, really, and it's kind of about like the connection that both of them and the secrets they share about each other, and it's just kind of like this really. It's kind of like it's an anti-romance film because there's also another romance going on in the movie, another storyline about a couple that one of them is cheating on the other, and he's also wanting to become a judge, and it's all this just layers upon what's going on, what do we do next in life, and at the very end of the movie, all three connect, and you see more characters from Blue and White in Red. It's just really interesting and plays with the storyline. I really like interconnected stuff like that. It's kind of like hyperlink cinema with Traffic and Sariana, except this one's just three movies. I love Kowalkowski. I think this is one of the greatest trilogies ever made. If you want to get into French cinema or Polish cinema, this is one to get into. It's only 90 minutes long, so it's kind of easy watching.
I have been waiting 59 episodes for somebody to bring up this trilogy. I have no idea what the hell you just talked about. I didn't know they were movies. I don't know if I'll ever watch them, Jake. But honestly, you did something that you haven't done this entire time. You pitched them well. You pitched movies well, so that's a possibility of actually going to see them. I just have not seen them. That's the fact of it. How does everybody else feel? Has anybody else seen the Colors trilogy?
No, but I know Red was nominated for picture, so if I'm ever going to get through them, that's one that I need to see.
I have not seen them. They're all on my Criterion watch list. I definitely want to check them out.
Okay. Kirk, take us on a journey.
My number 47 is Barr in the chat.
Yes, he is.
You might want to. Well, everybody just ignore him for like the next 2 minutes because my number 47 is the Deer Hunter. This is Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken perform, I think, one of my all-time favorite all top 3 favorite scenes of all time. That first Russian roulette scene in the prison camp is just one of the most amazing and breathtaking and emotionally paralyzing scenes I've ever seen. Just how the raw humanity you see from them as they're fighting to survive and doing this and putting their lives on life to get out of there is so great. But that's juxtaposed. All those brutal war scenes are juxtaposed of the scenes of just their normal life, and it's a Western PA story. I grew up around people like this, and it's very real. It feels very real, especially to me. Just coming from that place. They're steel workers, they're blue collar guys, just them hanging out, them going hunting, them playing pool. The wedding scene is probably the second best wedding scene in the history of movies. It's really long, but it should be because it just covers so much. De Niro's great in it, Christopher Walken's great in it, Meryl Streep, John Cazale in one of his few movies. Just a stacked cast. And like I said, it's just a really great movie about war, the effects of war and friendships and just real friendships, deep kind of brotherhood between men. Beautiful, beautiful story.
Is the first wedding scene Step Brothers when he said he didn't order salmon? He said it 4 times. This wedding is horseshit, because that would be number 1.
Probably.
Deer Hunter is one that I need to revisit. I've seen one time. I remember liking it, but I don't remember much about it. It was a long time ago. So I definitely need to revisit it. I just got it on my Vudu, so I'm excited to recheck that one out. But again, it's a long one, so I kind of have to set time and make sure my kids aren't around. What does everybody else think about the Deer Hunter?
Never seen it.
I've always wanted to see it, and I just never got around to it.
Oh my God, no!
I won't.
He said, "You said the name," and then I
gotta swap out for Christopher Walken movies. Dang it, I didn't think of that.
But yeah, I really like this one. I think Walken is legitimately incredible in this. This is probably my favorite performance of his. It's between this and Catch Me If You Can for my favorite performance. But I think he's absolutely incredible. The scene in which he sings Can't Take My Eyes Off of You by Frankie Valli is great. It's absolutely excellent.
You're sure your not favorite is not when he's a Bond villain? So,
he's the only thing in that movie that actually works.
That's very true. That is 100% the most true thing you ever said. Kirk, take us on your next one.
My number 46, I'm probably going to lose some people, and I'm okay with that. My number 46 is Scarface. I really love this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. I love Pacino in it. I think he knows exactly what kind of movie he's in, and he's given the exact right performance. It's really over the top. It's gaudy. It's ugly at times, but it's just such a great crime story. It kind of takes that up and comer criminal American dream story, and I love the character. He's so awful, and there's nothing we do about him. But he has that weird sense of morality, his own sense of right and wrong. that sets him apart from everybody else. He's great in it. Robert Loggia's good in it. I love F. Murray Abraham in his little role. And I know I'm not going to die on this hill. I know a lot of people hate this movie, and I understand why. But I have so much fun watching it every time I watch it.
Yeah. So I think I'm a little. I'm with you, Kirk. I haven't caught like why everybody really hates this movie nowadays. Like I haven't really like caught onto it. Like there's probably something I'm missing. But overall, I have a blast watching this movie. I just do. I think it's one of the first like that like crime movie that I remember watching. Like because I mean, everybody ever watches the old show on MTV called Cribs? Everybody that they showed off had a Scarface poster in every like part of the. Yeah, sorry, Jake, but it was. So I watched it, and I think it's. I absolutely have a blast with it. It's nothing great. I don't think it's one of the best crime movies ever. But the line where he's like, my balls. I don't. My word is like my balls. I don't break either. It's just so good. And then like that chainsaw scene is freaking psycho for the time period, and like the whole say hello to my little friend, that entire ending scene is crazy. Like the movie's not great, but like it's not like an Academy Award winner, but I think it's a blast. I think it's a really good time. What does everybody else think about Scarface?
Until about very recently, I didn't know this was a movie that people didn't like. I thought this was pretty well universally regarded as a good movie. I've never.
Why don't people like it? What's wrong with it now?
I don't think Paul likes this movie.
I think generally the criticism at the time was that it was a little too over the top. I think it's the over the topness that people, at least for me personally, I like the movie. The reason I don't love it is I think it's just, it's a little too over the top for me. I know that's what the movie's trying to be. So I don't think the movie's bad because I think the movie is exactly what it's trying to be. It's just not personally my favorite thing.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I've never seen it, unfortunately. I've seen the last 10 minutes because it's incredible, that whole scene. Don't want to spoil. But yeah, great. But just haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. The whole...
Stone during a cocaine addiction, which is interesting.
Okay, your next one.
Okay, my number 45 is Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, also known as Star Wars. Oh, okay.
That's why he took it down.
No, I misclicked. I had like a mini stroke while trying to click things.
Okay, my number 44 is To Kill a Mockingbird.
The best young adult movie ever made.
Kill a Mockingbird is just a real. I mean, I kind of compare this to another movie in a weird way that I had in my list earlier, And Justice for All, where it's about the system and how the system fails people and somebody trying unsuccessfully to stand up to the system. Atticus Finch is one of the all-time greatest movie characters. He's the greatest movie dad of all time. Every time I watch that movie, I'm embarrassed as a father because I see every one of my failings because he always knows exactly what to do, what to say, and it's always right. The child actors in this are fantastic. In a movie like this, that could collapse. A movie like this could collapse under a bad performance, especially in that time period. And these kids are really good. And just the story this tells with Atticus, defending this man and seeing that through the eyes of a child, and it filtered through their memory of it. And the movie almost in a certain way feels like it's a dream or a memory because you have that that removed person telling the story. I just love the performances. I love how it's told. It's just a really, really great movie.
So this movie, I hated the first time I saw this movie. Basically because I was in school and I had to read it and I had to watch the movie, and I was a jackass 9th grader that didn't give a shit. They didn't kill any mockingbirds in the entire fucking movie. Didn't understand why the fuck we were sitting there. On rewatch, this movie's incredible. I wish I could go back and be in 9th grade and catch the stuff that this movie taught. Because I think it's an important life lessons that a lot of people need to learn. I think it's very I think it's very important for the time we're living in. I think I just bought it recently because I'm excited to revisit it. I'm excited to show my son one day. I think it's really a great movie. It's just not one of the rewatchables for me, so I wouldn't probably be on my top. But I completely respect it being on your list. Kirk's doing really well this episode. What does everybody else think about? Yeah, what is everybody else doing on? That's why he's the second host of the show. I'm just gonna be honest with you. He knows how to play the show. What does everybody else think about To Kill a Mockingbird?
I think I was kind of in a similar position to you, Cody. First time I saw it was not really for like school, but my dad was like, "You need to read this book, and then we need to see the movie." And it was a little bit before I started really getting into movies, so I didn't quite appreciate it as much as I did. I rewatched it semi-recently, and I liked it a lot more on second watch through. It's a really good movie.
I've seen this movie in school. I haven't seen it since. Like this movie, just haven't gone back to rewatching it.
Stop showing it in school, people. You're ruining the movie. Stop it.
I haven't seen this movie since 10th grade. I read the book. I read the second half of the book, I will say. I was on vacation when they started reading the first half, so I didn't know what the fuck was going on when I got back. And then they showed the movie, and I paid attention to that movie intently, and I liked it. But I definitely do not remember most of the first half of this movie or book. So
I completely understand why they show it in school, but I don't think they should. Or unless you're a senior or something. I don't think you're at that level of maturity to fully grasp or appreciate the film. There's some kids, but I don't think
Cody, the teacher's hungover.
That's a fact.
That's why I watched The Mice and Men 3 times in school.
Damn.
For me, it was Remember the Titans.
I can only I saw some off ones, but I can only see George look at the rabbits.
The Patriot. I spent 3 days in school watching The Patriot in history class. That was the best movie I've ever watched in school.
Mint.
Chono is a beast. Go. If he ever watches this, hell yeah, Chono.
Go your next one.
That was the 44. So it's me. Right. 47. Jake put Synecdoche. This is my retaliation. My 47 is pitch motherfucking perfect. So I think this movie is really good. I think it's the chemistry between the group is really authentic and fun. This is the most tolerable Rebel Wilson's ever been in a movie. She's a terrible actress. She's the worst part of everything she's ever been in. She's the worst part of this. But if I have to watch any movie she's in, I probably would take either this or Jojo Rabbit, because she's tolerable in this. She's barely in Jojo Rabbit. But I think it's really fun. I think Anna Kendrick is a really likable lead. I'm a shill for Ben Platt. Cameron Holtzman is too. He knows this. He's fantastic in this movie. He is so funny. I love all the different musical numbers and the contests that they do. They do really great jobs of mashing up the different songs and making them really fun to watch and listen to. Anna Camp is really good in this movie. She's really funny as the antagonist. I enjoy this movie a lot.
When somebody brings up a bad movie, even though they know it's a bad movie, it's probably how everybody felt in the 40s and 50s in schools when they did the test sirens for the bombs and everybody went hiding under desks. They're like, what the hell's he going to do? He's going to start screaming. So this is one of those movies that I'm really hesitant to do a top 100 with my wife, because my wife now wants to be a part of a top 100 and me judge her list because her movie tastes suck. And Pitch Perfect is one of her favorites. It's the most tolerable of her movies that she likes, but it's not good by any stretch of the imagination. Kirk must absolutely think this movie's a piece of dog shit because it's Pitch Perfect, and they love The Breakfast Club, and they reference The Breakfast Club. So this is not going to go pretty. 47 is stupidity. It is honestly one of the most stupid choices in the history of the universe. You literally had Creed 2 at 48. I was like, oh, Cole's doing well.
No.
Cody,
this is not the worst movie for you on my list right now today.
God. Again, Rebel Wilson is really bad in this. I think there's good characters throughout it that make it fun. The best part of these movies is the announcers of Elizabeth Banks, and I can't think of the actor's name.
John Michael Higgins.
fantastic. Like those two are like comedic geniuses, and Anna Kendrick's fine, and the overall plot of it's okay, but it drags and it's annoying. And this launched all this acapella shit that we had. Like TV for the longest time was all singing competitions of acapella, and I couldn't stand it. It was so annoying. What does everybody else think about Pitch Perfect? Kirk, how close was this to making your top 100?
Just barely right there. No, I mean 47's nuts. But you said about Cody, you said about your wife's top 100. There are movies that I watch with my wife. There are movies she tolerates for me. There are movies that I tolerate for her. As far as movies I tolerate for my wife, you could do a lot worse than the first Pitch Perfect. The second and third ones are garbage. And there she is. I'm surprised she's not excited about this because she loves this movie. And I, especially in like after seeing I saw this at home. She dragged me to see Pitch Perfect 2, and I hated that. That was miserable. So I think in comparison, one's a whole lot better. So yeah, this is nowhere near top 100, 500, anything, but it's a tolerable movie. The music's fun.
I really love it.
Well, I think this movie is not good, but the person who hates this movie is Eli the Goatman Boatman. Despises this movie. No, an extreme passion. The other thing is, Kirk, I think you're gonna need to go on the run because your wife just murdered Koho.
She did. She
that shot across the bow was felt by every
She
single
has some savage moments in the chat, and it's normally pointed to Koho, which I'm thinking Valentine's Day. There might be a pairing up of the co-host of the Kowalkowskis. That would be brilliant. Go ahead. Whoever, Jake, talk about Pitch Perfect and why it makes the top 100.
I fucking hate this movie. This movie sucks. I saw this on a date. That's all I'm gonna say. I hated it. I wanted to die. Every joke.
Is this the one? Is this the one that made?
100% was the one.
Is this the one that you made her watch Run?
Yeah, Run after this.
And then kicked her out?
I hate this film so much. The best thing about this movie is David Del Rio, future Schmoedown competitor, is in this movie. This is the second worst association with the number 47 in this community. And I absolutely hate every second of this film. This would make my top 1 million, for sure.
Coming next year, top 1 million. We'll do like a tournament style where we go the entire season of just... Never mind. We'll finish that joke. Okay, go to your next one.
Okay, well, I'm not going to get to talk about my 46 because I just redeemed myself in the eyes of Jake Marangoni's Birdman or the Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. There you go. My 45, we're going to just stick firmly to the 2010s decade, is War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, God.
This is my favorite of the three Apes movies. I think it has a lot to say in wrapping up the movies. I think the world that they have set from the first two kind of culminates into a perfect kind of send-off. I think Caesar's at his best in this one. Andy Serkis plays him excellently. The inner demon struggle that he has with the results of Dawn with Koba, losing his family, and kind of going on this revenge mission that kind of goes horribly wrong until it doesn't. Bad Ape is great. I love Steve Zahn in this movie. He's a great character, but Woody Harrelson's magnificent. I'm glad he got nominated for the Oscar for 3 Billboards, but I think he was more deserving for this one. I think his performance in this movie is brilliant as the villain. He has a lot of dementias that he gives as a blockbuster movie villain, which is kind of crazy. The whole story that he gives with his son and how much he hates the apes, that he would rather take his own life than die from their virus is insane. I think it's a fantastic send off to that trilogy, and I know there's going to be another one, but I wish they would leave it here. I think it's brilliant.
Again, I've already said my piece about the original Planet of the Apes. It's the quote from Step Brothers. It's okay that mine's not movie quality. I think these movies are epic. I love all three. This would probably be my least of the three. I think the nomination for Woody Harrelson in this movie is just no. I'm sorry. I think he's fine. I think he's good. I don't think he does a lot. I think that was one of the most underwhelming things. Like, I don't think he goes off and it doesn't like have this emotional element to me on this one. I didn't like it as much. I think it's good, but I think like there are different characters throughout. I like the Koba, like that inner struggle from Dawn. I think Dawn's the best one. That's a joke. That's accurate.
It's easy.
And Boatman, and the crazy thing is Boatman's slightly older than him. And
Bowman is only a month older than me in real life.
And the list, you could not even tell that they're that close. So War 45, I'm really upset that it was this close between this and Pitch Perfect, but I'm glad you chose War to be a little higher. What does everybody else think about War of the Planet of the Apes?
I like the Planet of the Apes franchise. I had the original one on my list earlier on, and I really like how this movie sets up the world. And the whole trilogy, I think, does a good job of it. But how this finale sets up the beginning of the original movies. Not a lot of prequels do that. A lot of prequels don't even try to do that. They just kind of do their own thing. And I think this one really honors the original and the roots. And yeah, I think Bad Ape is probably the best part of this. And Woody Harrelson is great in it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I haven't watched any of these in a long time, so I couldn't tell you exactly where it fall in my rankings. But they're all kind of like the same place for me, and I like them all.
I think this movie's fine. This movie should have been called Prison Break for the Planet of the Apes. There is no war, and I think it's okay. I think Rise is the best one, but that's just a personal opinion for me. I'm just not really a big fan of it.
I love how Jake is like a high school teacher, just like, well, I like the movie, but you titled it War for the Planet of the Apes.
That is a nitpick, and I will take that for sure.
Technically, Prison Break, so -1 point. But no, like I really like this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's very like epic. I think Woody Harrelson is legitimately great as the Colonel. And I like that this movie kind of harkens back to like war movies of the 50s. Like it feels similar to Bridge on the River Kwai in a lot of aspects. And I like that because I am a shill for classic things that get referenced in newer things.
Yeah, I can just see him eating popcorn and like pointing and be like, aha, that moment. Yeah, that's fun.
I'm literally Leonardo DiCaprio.
The Inception meme, yeah.
Go. Take us through 2010s a little bit longer.
We are not going to the 2010s. If I had picked the one of these from the 2010s, I'd have died. I'm going back to the 90s. It's Aladdin. I think Aladdin is one of my favorite Disney animated movies. It's one of my favorite just musicals. I think the music in Aladdin is legitimately incredible. I love Robin Williams as the genie. Goes without saying, the best part of the movie. Friend Like Me is probably my favorite Disney song of all time. I love the way that Robin Williams performs it and just the energy that he brings, just that manic, fun, just like life that he gives to that song. And all the way around it, Jafar is incredible as a villain. I think he's menacing and intimidating and really is a snake until he actually gets to physically become one for the time that he has. He's brilliant. I get the Aladdin Jasmine criticisms of them not being like the most great lead figures to look at or like be invested in, but I still believe their love story and I enjoy the journeys they go on. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I won't say anything. Good job. I won't say any shit on Aladdin. I think those three, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, those three were just so shaped. Those are my childhood in a nutshell. I think they're fantastic. Robin Williams is literally my favorite comedic actor of all time. He made me attempt voices, try voices. I think the overall movie delivery is just brilliant on his behalf. The songs are great. Jafar is second best Disney villain of all time in my eyes. I just think he's incredible. I don't care that Jasmine and Aladdin are not great, but look at most leads from the 90s. Like, no one like, Simba, you're amazing, or Belle, you're great. Like, they're just pieces to move the puzzle. So overall, I think it's a fantastic choice. 44. Good. Bowman, what do you got to say? You got some?
Well, no, I disagree about one of the characters you brought up, but that's fine. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, more importantly, is I think this movie is a lot of fun. But I think the better thing that this movie gave us was a little Star Kid musical called Twisted, which is amazing. And you should all watch it because Star Kid.
I have no idea what this is.
Twisted is actually really good.
Did you just cuss at me? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh. Everybody else, Aladdin.
I grew up during the experimental era of Disney, so I watched a lot of those and didn't really take a lot of time to watch the Renaissance movies, so I was a little later when I saw Aladdin. I think Aladdin's pretty good. I like it. Just not one that I have rewatched. Or I'm not really a big Disney fan. I think people know this already. I just don't really care for Disney, and this is just one that I think is pretty good.
You're a terrible person. It's fine.
That is true.
I really like Aladdin. I think it's really kind of gets cast aside in the Renaissance era. Like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King are, the Holy Trinity. And to be honest, I think I'd take this over all of them. This is as close as a Disney movie gets to being gritty. And I love that. I love the just that edge it has to it with Aladdin and the genie and Jafar. Just again, it's a Disney edge, but it's still comparatively it's an edge. And
gritty. Scar kills his brother. All right, he tries to feed him to a hyena. Tell me the grit.
But then he goes and sings with a warthog for the rest of the movie. I really like. Again, it's my favorite of the Renaissance. I really like it. It's not on my list, but if I was going to put one on my list, this would be it. Spoiler alert.
Always hurt me. Okay.
I agree, Joseph. I agree.
Oh yeah.
My landslide.
But you're also not a female, so you don't have any.
Well, I don't like Little Mermaid in general. I like the music.
I know, but I'm just saying that wasn't be one that you grew up loving. My wife would punch you in the throat if you said that. Boatman, 43.
Okay. We're now getting to my 43. We're only one away from the nightmare that will never.
Oh, fuck.
But that's okay. We're getting to my number 43. My internet's just being crappy and I can't find it. Here we go. My 43 is Toy Story 2.
It's like when he doesn't make the wheel in Warzone and he just keeps talking while he's typing. Like, and we know you didn't make it, just say it.
That was my 76.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Toy Story 2. I think this is the best of the series. I think I love the dynamic here. I think that it takes the more comedic elements that people really like about Toy Story 1, because I think all the comedic stuff with Buzz and the rest of the toys going to see Woody is like very fun. And then you get the emotional elements with Woody, Jesse, and all that going on. And that's what we get later in Toy Story 3. I think this is the best of both worlds between Toy Story and Toy Story 3. I love the way this movie blends the comedy and the drama. And I also think Jesse is like one of the best side characters in the Toy Story series. I think Al is actually a lot of fun. Wayne Knight is just a great personality in general. And overall, I think this movie is just awesome.
So, the Toy Story rankings of the Toy Story movies has been up for debate pretty hotly contestedly for the last year. This is the best one. I think definitively is the best one, at least for me. And then I go Toy Story 4. But I think 2 is brilliant. It has the most satisfying movie scene of all time in it, and I stand by it. When Jerry from Jerry's Game shows up and starts cleaning Woody and making him like new is the most oddly satisfying scene. It's like getting a back massage in a film. It's weird. It's so weird, but it's that scene just is oddly calming. But the movie itself is brilliant. Buzz Lightyear's great in this one. I think this is the best Buzz has ever been. Is in this sequel when he kind of takes on his own mission of I have to be the friend now to Woody after he was the friend that came and saved me. Is kind of great. I like all the stuff with Zurg. Zurg I think it's a really fun joke, especially the elevator when they just completely parody Empire with just the "No, Buzz, I am your father." Is great. I think it's the best of the Toy Stories pretty widely.
I don't think I'm going to watch that scene again and just like it the same.
It's satisfying.
Imagine Koho getting a back rub to it.
Satisfying.
But overall, this is my favorite Toy Story by far. I think this is the best Toy Story. I think it takes what the world they created in the first one and expand it, and they go close to the line. What they did in 3, they jumped over the line, but in the second one, they were that great medium. I don't care what anybody says. I think Prospector Pete is probably the best villain in the series, just because he doesn't get what they're like. He has dealt the box life. He's done the whole thing. Like, no kid will love him. Like, let's go be on a museum and stuff. The Woody Roundup stuff, like when Woody finds out that he was a TV character, is really good. And that scene where Jesse gets left behind in that song literally still breaks me. It's so sad. We've all left toys behind someplace that never know what happened to them. And yeah, it's rough. What does everybody else think about Toy Story 2?
Okay. You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I'm with Barr on this one. I don't think this is the best one.
The Barr's wrong. So
I
don't be
think
like him.
that Toy Story 3 tells the story a lot better than this one.
Oh.
This is a lot. I'm not going to compare this to other Pixar sequels. Because compared to other Pixar sequels, this is magnificent. But it still has some of those. It has like a little bit of like residue of a cash grab on it, like this where you get Barbie and then they drive through all the different aisles of the toy store and everything. So it has that just a little bit. It's not bad, but I would probably put this third in my rankings of the 4 movies now.
Just too much. You just like Spanish Buzz that much more. Yeah, so good.
This is the best of the Toy Story films by far. I really love the production. The production that was going on during the movie. Half the movie was deleted, and they had to figure out how to bring it all back. There's a great video on YouTube exploring how that happened. But I didn't know you had a cleaning toy fetish. You should probably get that checked because it's a little weird. This further explores themes that were set up in the first film. That's what a great sequel does. This film, I really love just showing more history behind Woody as a character. I think that's really cool. And also on Twitter, there's a weird bot thing that's going on of just the scene, just a video of, I can't believe I have to go to work on Saturday. It's really hilarious, and it's just posting the video of him saying, I can't believe I got to go to work, and it's really funny. But that's it. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, again, just going to talk to the chat real quick. Thanks for everybody being here. You roll, move, reviews can leave, and Barr can leave because you're incorrect. Yeah, Kirk, we all know who you are. And the one person that gave this dislike to a video, I really appreciate you. I would like you to message me directly, and we can make a whole episode of Your List Sucks all about you, and tell me, and I can just rip you apart for the entire episode. So please submit your name for me. It's probably, yeah, most likely. Probably. I'm on the call, so that's normally what happens. Jake, tell us what your 43 is.
My number 43. I know you were talking how There Will Be Blood is PTA's best film, so I'm very curious to see what you're going to say about this one. It is Phantom Thread.
Oh no! Oh no!
Anytime any PTA film comes out, I'm always there to go watch. This is a disturbing romance movie between the relationship of Reynolds Woodcock and his muse, Alma, and kind of the twisted psychological battle between both of them. I've talked about how I love character studies. I really love... Every time Daniel Day-Lewis plays a character, he just puts so much effort into it, and I think Woodcock is one of his best characters. I really just love the intricacies of how his character works. He doesn't like loud noises during people with their mouth open during breakfast. You have Alma's eating the toast and she's spreading the butter out, and it's just too loud for him. He has a schedule in his head of how things work, and throughout the movie, it all just falls apart with Alma just constantly intervening and destroying his whole schedule, and the way he just... It's just insane. It's almost like OCD in the sense that he just has the system in place, and then when you put Alma into it, it just completely ruins everything. It just gets eerie and disturbing, and in a sense that you just had no idea where it was going throughout the movie. There's a scene later on which involves mushrooms that I won't spoil. There's a great dinner scene that Alma sets up for Reynolds, and it's just like those awkward, just unfortunate just argument that they have over just something very little. And it's just also just a certain annoying things that Alma does that I just find hilarious. Like she just starts pouring the coffee just really high, and you can just see Reynolds just like starting to like break. And it just shows kind of just how disturbing relationships can be, especially in a situation like this. I love PTA, and I think the score is also fantastic. Should have won the original score Oscar. I love the Shape of Water score. I just think that Phantom Thread, just everything about it is brilliant.
So I won't give you too much crap. I saw 45 minutes of this and I passed the F out. It was really good to make me go sleep. I couldn't sleep, turned it on, went right out. So maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Maybe go fuck yourself. What does everybody else think about Phantom Thread?
I like this movie, but having this above There Will Be Blood is weird.
He had Crank on his list. Let's calm down.
That's fair.
Don't try to analyze. Don't try to analyze.
Okay.
Once you think you caught the Jake, he's gone. You have no clue what he's done. Koho, you love this movie, don't you?
Well, Red Shot kind of summed it all up right there. I remember the Oscar nominations coming out for movies for 2017, and this movie was just dominating in a lot of areas, and I had heard nothing about it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll check that one out. And it came to theaters, and I looked at my watch about 20 minutes in and went, should I bail? And I didn't, and I wish I did. Is Daniel Day-Lewis great? Absolutely. He's fantastic. I hate everything else about this movie. It's boring. The score's fine. The costumes are fine. But the whole movie is just one large, big, just boring-ass film. I'm sorry. Of all the PTAs, this is the one I will probably rewatch the least, if ever. I'm not a PTA person to begin with, but this is the one that people loved. I don't see it.
I might watch this 6 times in a row for one that starts with an M. Kirk, go ahead.
I have not seen this. I've kind of been procrastinating because I get the exact vibe from this movie that Koho just described. Like, I want to see Daniel Day-Lewis act. He's always great, but the rest of everything surrounding him, everything, orbiting him, just looks and feels really, really dull. So I will see it eventually. I'll get there, but I've just been putting it off.
Just go to YouTube and watch Daniel Day-Lewis act inside Phantom Thread. They'll pick out the best scenes you want to watch the movie. It was a great time for all. I don't know what the hell I just watched, but it worked. Kirk, 43.
My 43 is V for Vendetta. I just, from the first time I ever saw this movie in the theaters, I just fell in love with it. I can't exactly put my finger in it. I think Hugo Weaving is so good. Just such a perfect creation of a chaotic neutral character who just basically has their own moral code and their drive to accomplish what they want to do. And I love his performance, and I love the character so much. I love that dystopian vision of England. John Hurt's so good as the prime minister, whatever his position is. And it reminds me almost like a modern day Spartacus. Even that scene at the end where they all take their masks off is a very much like a I Am Spartacus moment. And then the Rolling Stones song after that, Street Fighting Man, is just so good. Just puts a perfect bow on the whole movie. It just like I said, it's a personal thing for me. Like, I've just loved this movie since day one. The score is great. Like, supporting cast is really good, and just so many great moments. Like that moment with he's with the doctor, and the one from the prison camp that's reticent, and she realizes she needs to be punished, and he's already poisoned her, and she's dying, but they have that moment together. It's such a beautiful moment, and that's what I love about it. It's such an ultraviolet movie, but the character has such heart, and there's so many like beautiful moments spread out throughout. So I love it so much.
Again, Kirk, you're kind of like Jake. You think you gotcha? Wouldn't have predicted it. I really like this movie a lot. Again, I think it's a movie I didn't think I would like as much, but I really do. Just like the monologues he gives, and like the overall like gritty. Like, I forget this is always a graphic novel, like a part of DC, So whenever you get a DC question or whatever, it's like V for Vendetta. Fuck. Okay, forgot all about that. But no, it's a fantastic one. It's one that I think goes under the radar when people talk about comic book movies and stuff. So it definitely needs to be a revisit for me. I haven't seen it in a while. So yeah, what does everybody else think for V for Vendetta?
Alan Moore is an enigma of a writer. I think he's one of the best comic book writers and the best at coming up with stories and like having something really eloquent to say. And then as soon as he gets out of comic books, he's a lunatic. But I think this is, of his works, maybe my second or third favorite. But I think the only thing I don't love about this, I think he's very, very clear in his point, and it's a very great story. I think the only part that loses me a bit, I understand the point of it, it gets a little too long, is the Evie prison stuff. Gets a little too long for me. But I understand the point of it. I know why it needs to be there. It just goes a little too long for me. But I think it's really good. It's a good choice.
Yeah, I like this one. I probably need to revisit it because I don't remember too much about it, but I enjoy it.
I like this movie. Haven't seen it in a long time.
Fair. Koho, take us back. And as we get closer and closer.
All right, so my number 43 is going to make Thomas Scully real happy. It's one of my favorites from the year 2015. It's The Martian.
Oh, no.
I think this movie is really fun, and actually, for a movie that is about a guy being stranded on the planet Mars and trying to survive, is really entertaining. And that rests a lot on Matt Damon's shoulders. I think he is very good as Mark Watney, and keeps like how he explains the different ways that he's surviving the different trials and tribulations he has. Keeps it kind of lighthearted while also keeping you engaged and connected to him and worried about him. I think his supporting cast around him is also crazy and really good and like really underrated. Jessica Chastain is great. Donald Glover has 1 to 2 scenes in this movie and he kills it in both of them. I really love Chiwetel Ejiofor, Sean Bean, even Jeff Daniels I think is really good. And then there's still people like Sebastian Stan and Michael Pena and Kate Mara who have little to nothing to do, but they're all like solid when they show up. I think it's a great movie and very rewatchable.
So I once double featured this and Sicario on the same day, back to back.
What a comeback!
Saw The Martian first, saw Sicario second. Should have reversed that order real fast. I'm really bad at picking which movies to watch first and which movies to watch second. But I liked The Martian a lot when it came out. I thought it was like the man shits in Mars, makes potatoes and eats them. Like there's like the act of survival. I like Matt Damon. I think the story is very interesting. It just loses me on rewatch because that first thing was like, is he going to make it? Is he not? Because I didn't know anything going into it. And then once you know, he kind of makes it. You're like, okay. Sorry, he makes it. So yeah, it's okay. 43 is a little high, but I mean, we're walking through the 2010s anyway, so basically fair. It was the funniest movie of that year by far. Funniest and had the most music. What did everybody else think about The Martian?
I mean, it does have ABBA songs in it, so close enough to a musical. Golden Globes are correct. I don't know. This is a good movie. It's not like top 5 of that year for me. Probably not even top 10, but it's good.
Top 5 for me.
Roman's so good with like backhanded, like.
Kirk, you want to say?
Yeah, 43's high. I like it. It is fun to see like all the ways he, figures out just the people back on Earth and that cruise. I have a lot of fun with that. That part of it, just people. It's kind of has that like Apollo 13 feel to it, where they're scrambling to just keep him alive, figure out what to do, and then find a ways to connect. It is a lot of fun. Like I agree with you, Cody. Once you've seen it all, though, kind of lose stuff because the big thing about it is the tension of okay, what happens next? How are they going to get through this overcome this problem? So that's after on rewatch, it's not as exciting, but it's a decent movie.
I think there may be something wrong with my brain because I did not like this movie when I first saw it. I just didn't really. Maybe it's just. I think it's just personal. Just me, just not really being a fan of it. I just didn't really like the comedy. Every comedy attempt fell flat. The best thing about this movie is David Bowie's Starman, and the second best thing about this movie is Donald Glover. And I think Jeff Daniels only did this movie because he wanted to redeem himself from My Favorite Martian.
Shared universe?
Okay.
Possibly.
All right, Bowman. 42.
Is this it?
Okay. Before we get started, I believe that airbags are important. And I believe that no one should be ashamed or shamed for having one. So I'm just going to put my airbag out right now. Philip Seymour Hoffman is in this movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this movie. My 42 is Magnolia. This is Paul Thomas Anderson. He showed up a lot. He's great. Everybody loved Paul Thomas Anderson. Anyway, intertwining stories. Tom Cruise is giving an excellent performance. I think he's legitimately giving a great performance. Frank T.J. Mackey. You have Philip Seymour Hoffman in this movie as the nurse to Jason Robards' character. All these intertwining stories. The movie is essentially about coincidences. It's about coincidences, and I think the way these coincidences line up is really like the heart of the movie. I think that all the actors are giving incredible performances in it. I think the intertwining story. I think you cannot I understand people not liking this movie, but I think this movie is exactly what it's trying to be. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
So I had this at number 79. So I will just say, Berman said a lot. Yeah, it's about coincidences. I'd also say it's about the failure of the father. There's a lot of father-child relationships in the movie, and it looks at like the different aspects of that: redemption, selfishness, and that's a big selling point for me, at least. Just like an interesting dynamic that you wouldn't see. I think Tom Cruise is excellent in this movie. I think he's well deserving of that nomination. I almost think he should have won. Sorry, Michael Caine. I really like Stanley. He's just such a tragic character, and his relationship with his father is just terrible, unfortunately. It makes you want to punch him, the dad, I mean. And I think the score is also just brilliant. I like John Bryan a lot. And also the choice of like Amy Mann music, I think is really cool, especially Wise Up, which everyone in the movie sings. It's just kind of like an interesting idea that only PTA could have done. And yeah, this movie I think is phenomenal. Roman had it higher than me. I'm just saying.
Okay, don't throw me under the.
Shut the fuck up. I am not a trivia player. The worst movie that I've ever had to watch for trivia is this 3-hour fucking snooze fest of a movie. I don't like it. I think it's boring. I don't care what it's trying to tell me. It is not a Cody movie by any means. Tom Cruise is shit in this movie. I'm sorry. Your Oscar nomination question is stupidity in my eyes. I think I took detailed notes for this movie. Would have hit every one of Malcolm's questions that he got in our match. Knew them left, right, and center.
Salty over that match just because Malcolm shit
I
the
won
bed.
by double TKO. I won by double TKO and never got scheduled again. Listen, let me tell you.
Full medal.
Fair. This movie is awful. I don't like it. I think Ready to Rumble I watched when I was a kid. I watched that shit 5 times over Magnolia. It's shorter, it's more enjoyable, and Jimmy the King does yeah. So I think this movie's awful. This is what's put on a pedestal, dipped in gold, hung on my mantle. I don't like PTA, and this is a clear reason why. There's fucking frogs. It's terrible.
I've never seen it.
Don't.
I love that.
Should I avoid it?
Yes.
Is this not a Koho?
Philip Seymour Hoffman's in the movie.
Okay, but is it a Koho movie?
But Philip Seymour Hoffman is in the movie.
I finally got around to seeing this earlier this year, probably within the past 3 or 4 months. I had high hopes for it because I really like Boogie Nights. This is his follow up. I thought, oh, it's going to be pretty good. I heard so much good stuff about it. Yeah, this movie's awful. Just so much. It's like so much, like soap opera level melodrama. So terrible. Tom Cruise is
and your winner.
Tom Cruise is giving Tom Cruise performance number 4. It's so generic Tom Cruise, and he ugly cries at the end, so I guess that's supposed to get us excited. Julianne Moore is unwatchable in this movie. She is horrible. I cannot believe she is a professional actress in this movie. It's one of the worst. I sucked other men's. So bad. So awful. That musical number is a joke. It completely sucked me out of the little connection I had to this movie. It's ridiculous. The movie leaves everything like hanging, like nothing's resolved. And I didn't realize that till like 45 minutes after I finished watching because I didn't care. I did not care about any of these people or what happened to them. Philip Seymour Hoffman and Jason Robards are the best part of the movie. They're both good in it. The relationship between them two I enjoyed. That's the one thing I liked. But otherwise, yeah, this movie is just one of the most overrated things I've ever seen.
You click options. Okay.
Options.
Is 42 going to be worse than co-host 41? I'm really curious now.
I don't know anymore.
Jake, what's your 42?
My number 42 is where's Dustin Mason? Where he's at? It is Go. Personally, I think this is Doug Liman's best movie. This is one of those.
Are you telling him to go, or is that like the name? Go ahead.
No, I'm telling him to swingers. I don't know. I think
Kill me.
this is no. This is one of the best Tarantino movies that's not a Tarantino movie. I really like. I've said it before. I like multiple storylines and hyperlinked cinema and all that sort of stuff, and especially 3 stories. One's about a group of guys going to Las Vegas, and then they get caught up in some sketchy stuff. Sarah Polley's working at the supermarket. She's trying to make some more money, so she sells drugs at a party. And then there's the third one of a couple who are trying to get out of trouble by being snitches or being moles for a police officer, and kind of how the stories interconnect and throw up. It's kind of like Pulp Fiction in that sense, and also the dialogue is very much like that. I love the soundtrack. Any movie that has Fatboy Slim, I'm all for. It's just really fun. Good old have a good time at late 90s movie, and you feel happy.
If Fatboy,
He broke the rules.
I'm gonna go to Kirk on this one because I clearly haven't seen Go. So
I saw it once when it came out. I don't remember a lot. I just remember it's like the most 90s thing ever. It's like that, like Jake said, it's very Tarantino-esque. I feel like half the cast of Dawson's Creek in this isn't this, from what I remember. It's like Pulp Fiction for like 18-year-olds. Is what I remember. So I can't say too much bad about it just because it's been so long since I've seen it. I remember not loving it, but maybe I'll rewatch it. Maybe it's better than I remember.
I've never seen
I'm gonna go to Koho because you know how to follow the rules.
I said I've never seen it.
Now, Bowman, you can talk.
if Fatboy Slim is a qualifier for you liking a movie, Big Fat Liar better be.
I was gonna say because right here, right now, which is my favorite Fatboy Slim song is Big Fat Liar. But yes, that's also great.
Right here, right now.
My fucking favorite.
We're gonna cut that. Okay, are we done with Go?
Yeah.
Kirk, go to 42.
My number 42 is Martin Scorsese's The King of Comedy.
Yikes!
Nice.
That was like Kirk's about to definitely win this episode. There's some redeeming coming up. Good.
My 42, we're just going to keep on strutting along through the 2010s. It's 2017's Best Picture winner, The Shape of Water. This is a movie that I've gone back to several times since I saw it in theaters. I enjoy it. I think it's a really beautiful film. I think Sally Hawkins is phenomenal, legitimately incredible. I think Richard Jenkins is good. Michael Shannon and Michael Stuhlbarg, I think, are almost better in the movie. They get kind of overlooked. I like Octavia Spencer. I don't necessarily know why she got nominated over Holly Hunter, though. But The Shape of Water is great. It's maybe one of my favorite film scores of all time, in Alexander Desplat's music for it. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I really enjoy it. If I'm also going back to it a lot, I think there's a lot of great elements and parts of it. And it's this very ambient story. You just get kind of sucked into Guillermo del Toro's world, and I kind of like living there for a little while. But yeah, it's a good movie.
So far, I can count on one hand how many episodes that Mike Hanley has showed up to on the call. It's one, and it's here, and it's this duck shape, water have a shape. Thank you, Mike Hanley. You are literally one of my favorites.
I'm sorry, Paul. You're right. I'll walk that statement back.
I do really like Michael Shannon in this movie, but no, Jenkins is better. I have not went back to this movie. It came out. It happened. I really enjoyed it. I just haven't watched it since.
Sure.
Nothing made me want to go back to the world of it. So, sure. So yeah.
That's a reference.
This is the single greatest Twohig comment of all time.
Yep, hands down. All right. Anybody else on Shape of Water?
I think this movie's good. I don't really love the storyline with Michael Stuhlbarg's character. I feel like that could have been cut and not too much would have been lost from the movie. I think the actual look and feel of this movie is really great. I think Sally Hawkins is excellent. But overall, I don't love this movie. I like it.
From previous movies on my list, I love when Guillermo del Toro does genre stuff. And I really like this movie. I love his just take on the monster. Michael Shannon is a great villain. He's his most Michael Shannon-iest in this. And yeah, the rest of his supporting cast is really good. I haven't been back to it yet either, but I did really like it.
If I had to choose 3 directors to watch for the rest of my life, it would be Inarritu, Cuarón, and Del Toro. I really love the three amigos of Mexican cinema, and I love Del Toro, and I think he really gets to show just him as a filmmaker and really just do something that's just more than just a genre film. I like Pacific Rim, I like Blade 2, and kind of go more into what he was doing with Pan's Labyrinth. I like this movie a lot. I love the style of this movie. I love the score. I think Johnny Greenwood Phantom Thread's better, but I still like this, and I'm okay with this winning. I'm saying I'm trying to not just shit on this because I do like the score a lot. But I just don't really like the ending. I just think it's way too rushed and just doesn't really I feel like you could have done some other stuff. But other than that, I think it's a good movie. I've seen it a couple of times. I don't think I'll ever see it again. Maybe we'll see, but unless it's just 3 filmmakers. But never mind. I like this. But yeah.
All right, we're going to take our final round around the bases.
All right.
Boatman, that's a baseball term. So you're going to go 41.
All right. Cody?
Well, I'm talking about just the 3 amigos.
I apologize for Magnolia. I think I might at least repay the debt that I just got myself into. My 41 is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, high quality. High quality. Here we go. Here we go. No one else has it? Fuck you all. Fuck everyone. Go.
Okay, yeah, I think this is one of the best road trip movies ever made. There's a reason I watch it every year on Thanksgiving. It's super duper fun. John Candy is giving one of the best comedic performances of all time in this. Steve Martin is really good at counteracting him in this. There are just so many little things, little details about this movie that I love, that I go back and I watch it every time, that I'm just like, oh, that. Even down to Candy's big blue coat. There are just so many little things that just make the movie feel more charming and warm. I love the scene in which Martin first recognizes Candy from stealing his cab, and the way that they shoot that to where they put the cab door inside the airport to make it recognize that. I think that's super cool. And just the comedy in general. The rental scene is iconic. And you're fucked. I think The mech around scene is great. Like, there's just so much about this movie I love.
Yeah, I want four fucking tires, an engine, a car, right fucking now. Got your rental slip? Nope, threw it away. Well, you're fucked. They don't cuss the entire time, and then they drop like 27 F-bombs right then and there, and it's literally. I remember my uncle every time fucking hit a recliner and just would like send it back because he thought it was the best thing ever. Yes, by far, best Thanksgiving movie. I even watch it on Christmas. I think it's so good. I think that pairing, the mess around scene, they're like, you're going the wrong way. Okay, thanks, buddy. And he's like completely thinking he's drunk. And they hit and spin. Like I remember a friend telling me, "Hey, you like planes, trains, and automobiles? You need to go see this movie. It just came out. You'll really like it. It's called Due Date." Due Date couldn't wipe this movie's ass. Okay,
so bad,
and I'm not friends with that person anymore to this day. Yeah, this movie. Brian Michaels doesn't even think this is like the best Thanksgiving movie. I think he said once. I think that's stupidity.
Home for the Holidays is the best.
Oh my god, this movie will still put me in tears, and I know the jokes are coming. Steve Martin is one of the best straight men, like comedy, like delivery while he's doing it. Hands down, great choice, Boatman. You definitely redeemed yourself. If you would have had Magnolia higher than this one, I would have probably shown up in your house. What does everyone else think about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
I've never seen it.
It's on my Voodoo, you piece of shit. You just lost access till you watch it.
Okay. This movie is hilarious. I love this movie. This is one of the best comedies of the 80s. But Cody talked about it. Going the wrong direction, saying that's my favorite scene in the movie. I just love when they just cuts to them being destroyed, getting crushed by the trucks, and it just cuts to Steve Martin seeing it was the devil. It's just so funny. It's so good. I love that so much. The dynamic between both is great because Steve Martin's playing like just so like depressed and cynical, and then just compare that with John Candy, who's like this whimsical, just optimistic guy. It's such a great contrast. Yeah, this movie's hilarious.
This list right here. Those aren't pillows. Just out of this. It's so good.
This is another one I've only seen for the first time recently, and I really liked it. The thing about this movie is, on paper, the two of them could be just such generic road trip comedy characters, and the movie could just be gag, but they just bring so much heart to it, and just so much realism of what they're going through and what they're experiencing, and you really feel for them. They feel real. The relationship feels real. It's organic, and it's my favorite performances by both these guys. I'm usually not a big Steve Martin fan. He misses a lot, I think, probably more than he hits for me, but he's great in this. This is, I think, the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah. Jake?
My number 41 is, I think this is a good film for Cody. I'm basically seeing it. It is Nightcrawler. Jake Gyllenhaal from 2014. I'm a
Yikes from earlier.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Yikes. This is just a really fun character study. This kind of is in the lines of King of Comedy, in the sense that it's kind of about a sociopath who tries to make his way through society, and it's fun. It kind of just details and looks at kind of just people getting news stories in the broadcast industry, and just kind of what people go to get the stories and to get the footage. Is this something that we just haven't seen in a film before? I think that is interesting if you just put a sociopath in the main character, and I think as the main character, and I think Gyllenhaal gives a phenomenal performance. It is insane, absolutely insane how he was not nominated for Best Actor. It is. I still don't know how that happened. Everything about this movie is perfectly set up. I think the script is brilliant. That's one of the best years for scripts, honestly. I really like his relationship with Riz Ahmed. That was like kind of the first big film that he really did, and kind of just to see him kind of in the film, and they both really play off each other. Rene Russo is also great in the movie. Everything about this movie is fun, and I think it's fun. I think it's just interesting. I really like the score as well. It kind of is like his just really like upbeat, and just completely is from like the perspective of Gyllenhaal's character, and I think the ending's also really just perfectly sets up like what this movie is. It's a rise story. It's really fun, good underdog story, which is kind of interesting in that situation.
So no, I don't hate this movie by any means. I just go ahead, Jake. Just go ahead, Boatman. I forgot you were on it.
That's okay. I also had Nightcrawler. I think this movie is it's the modern day Taxi Driver is really what it is. The way that Gyllenhaal's like the way that Lou Bloom's character's mind works here is looking up ways for people to like you and mirroring that, but he doesn't actually care about people liking him. He just wants to succeed. He's so ambitious, it's scary, and his moral flexibility is terrifying. And Gyllenhaal's, it's insane he wasn't nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah. So this is one that's been like blown up about like how great he was and should have been nominated. So I'm like, when I first saw it, I was going in with all this stuff. I think it's a great movie. I think he's good. I really do. It's just not one that I'm like in love with. I wouldn't put it at 41, but I can understand why some people really do enjoy it and why it's ranked a little higher. It's just not higher for me because I think I watched it with overhype attached to it. So. What does everybody else think?
I saw this 2 years ago, maybe. When I was just scrolling through the Netflix queues and seeing what I could watch. And the only thing I'd ever heard about this movie was that Gyllenhaal was like good in it. And so I like watched it and I was blown away by it. I really enjoyed it. I thought he was phenomenal. I've never really had an inclination to go back to it. But it is a really good movie, and I think Gyllenhaal is legitimately fantastic in it. So,
I like this movie, but two other movies just got mentioned: King Comedy and Taxi Driver. I think they tell this story a little better, but it's not a bad movie. Gyllenhaal is good in it. Something about Jake Gyllenhaal, I feel like that's just really him. Like he's got that like James Spader vibe to me, where he plays characters like this. I think he's just like being himself. Because he's got those like crazy eyes and his eyebrows. Just something about him is just he gives off a psycho vibe to me. But that doesn't make me like the movie any less. There's other cool stuff like when he's going through the house and setting things up, and you just see what a complete sociopath he is, and you know how far he's willing to go to achieve that. When he's watching what's his name die, and he figures out what he is. It's really good. So yeah, there's a lot of good moments. It's a good movie. Just like I said, I think there's others that do a little better.
Okay, Kirk, 41.
My number 41. Where's Oyama at? It is Rashomon. This is, I don't know if it was ever done before in movies where you have the unreliable narrator and seeing things from different perspectives. But I mean, this is the one that's famous for it to really invented that genre, and you see it so much now, with Pulp Fiction and Tarantino and all these different filmmakers who use that conceit. It's done in a really great way. The movie it's basically a murder trial, and it's different witnesses being called and getting their perspective from it. Toshiro Mifune is great in this. He's completely unhinged. He plays the killer on trial, and he is just crazy in this movie. He's so good, and it just gets weird. Like one of the witnesses in the trial at one point is the ghost of the person who got killed, and they possess somebody and they, give their testimony. So it's a lot of fun. If you're going to watch, and Paul, tell me, you may have a different perspective on this. If you're going to watch, get into the director here, I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, Kurosawa. Geez. It's late. If we're going to get into Kurosawa, this is probably the best, maybe entry level movie of his. It's not that long, and it's really fun to watch. And it's a great movie.
Haven't seen it. Who else has not?
I have not seen it.
I have not seen it, but I should mention that the big reason why I haven't seen this movie is that I've seen the story in an animated film from the 2000s called Hoodwinked, which tells the same perspective of a murder or an incident, and then hearing the perspective and the stories behind multiple characters. I think that's kind of funny. I just kind of love that. But yeah, I just haven't seen much more.
But no, I really I like this one a lot. I haven't seen a ton of Kurosawa. I think it's good. It didn't quite click for me as much as High and Low did, but I think this one's really good. Toshiro Mifune is like insane in this one, and I do really like the elements of the story. It doesn't all kind of click together for me, but I think it's good.
Fair. Koho, take me home. Country Road.
We'll just rip the Band-Aid off. Hail Caesar. So I love the Coen brothers. They're my favorite filmmakers of all time, and I was not really expecting this movie when I saw the trailers for Hail Caesar. And I wasn't expecting to go back to this movie as much as I have. I really like the story of a 50s Hollywood fixer in the sort of day in the life of what he has to do at the studio. But it also happens to be maybe the most crucial day of his career, where he's looking at getting out of the movie business, but at the same time, one of his biggest stars goes missing. George Clooney is really good. I think Alden Ehrenreich is phenomenal as Hobie Doyle. I think he's the best part of the movie. I really like Josh Brolin. I think the entire ensemble cast around him is really great in this sort of situational dark comedy. I really like Scarlett Johansson as the sort of Marilyn Monroe style like character who has a, sort of this pregnancy scandal that she's trying to cover up with the help of Jonah Hill, who's a lawyer. I really like the cast and the way they all play off each other and just the story as it progresses. And I think Carter Burwell's score for this one's actually legitimately underrated. And No Dames, great musical number with Channing Tatum. But yeah, Hail Caesar's really good and underrated. And there's a lot of weird hate for it that Cody's a part of. So cool.
Boring. Movie sucks. I'm not a Coen Brothers fan. I'll state that.
What?
But I like a lot of movies over this one. Oh Brother, meant. Fargo, meant. This, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Stop writing love letters to Hollywood. They're not answering, and stop kissing their ass. It's boring. It's annoying. It's stupid. Like, you look back-to-back years where they sucked Hollywood's dick on screen. Like, it's just so. Oh, I remember when I saw the trailer, I'm like, that looks fascinating. I am so excited to see that. And then I was waiting for the freaking credits to show up. Yeah, not enjoyable. Thought it was trash. Not as bad as Magnolia, but it was close. How does everybody else feel?
It should be mentioned. This was the first Coen Brothers film that Kohei had seen ever.
In theaters, not ever.
In theaters? Okay.
I had seen Oh Brother, Fargo, Big Lebowski, and No Country.
No Country. Yeah. Asterisk there.
The first Coen Brothers movie I ever saw in theaters.
Yeah, also the same for me. It was the first Coen Brothers film I saw in theaters. Yeah, I like Coen Brothers a lot.
Yeah, I figured you want to see No Country for Old Men in 2007.
2007. Yeah, I was 9, so it was no way.
Ooh, can I go see Harvey Bardem kill people, Mom? Like, no, that happened.
I mean, I would. But...
I definitely liked this movie a lot when I saw it, and now I just haven't seen it since. It's kind of just withered away in my brain. I know this is the first of many Coen Brothers films on Cody's list, if that says something. I think it's fine. I think it's good. It's not the Coen Brothers film that I go back to.
Oh yeah, well, the tour is so simple. Thanks, Diaz. That's a great scene.
This is a good scene. It's like
It's Coen's brother comedies don't always hit for me. It's not bad.
This is a comedy.
Yeah.
I watched it, and I mean it's got there's a lot of fun performances, and I'll say that. Channing Tatum is actually kind of surprised me in what he did in this movie. I kind of am burned out on the George Clooney comedy Coen Brothers character that he kind of plays in every one of their movies, with the eye rolls and everything. That's kind of played out for me, but I didn't hate it.
I like him more in Burn After Reading than Hail Caesar. So
I really wish I could ask you a question if Oh Brother is higher on your list than Hail Caesar. But I don't think I can ask that question at this point. So, God, I flipping hope it's not on your list.
I said you cannot ask me that.
Oh, I was like...
Another great Twohig quote there needs to go up on the board.
Hail Caesar. That's good.
Oh,
I also always love George Clooney, Paul.
Yeah, same.
Yes,
I love him in everything.
Man After Reading is the pinnacle of comedy for George Clooney.
And Paul, they did get the grumpy version of me. That's what happens when I work and I have a bad day at work. I take it out on people, and your list sucks. It's a great time. All right, well, that's our episode. The movies, Boatman's list was 41 is meant.
You had to put Magnolia on there and not Queen Train?
Yeah, well, we're just gonna move on because I just actually ruined it because I saw that. I was like, you have like 4 great movies on that list, and then you have that fucking flower. Okay, Jake had Colors.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the most Jake lists I've ever seen. Like, really well done, Jake. In your eyes,
Thanks.
in your list, sucks eyes. Not great. Kirk, well done, sir. You won by a mile. Mile. 50 Graduate. Beautiful. Just beautiful. I even like Scarface. You had King of Comedy. We haven't talked about it. To Kill a Mark. You did well done. Well done. People need to resemble Kirk on this show if you want to do well. And then Koho. You had Hollywood Kiss Ass, Fish and Lady Have Sex, Aladdin. You had some good ones, bad ones. Pitch Perfect was on there. We'll just leave it. We'll try again next week, Koho. Sad thing is you won a week and Boatman has not. That's impressive. Things that have been yikes. Whew, Boatman's still got a hefty list coming. Hefty. So he's got some good ones still. Koho, also some good ones that haven't been talked about. You and Kirk have a lot of weird overlap. It's creepy. Oh my gosh, you do have a lot of overlap. And Jake has the most minimum, who is shocked? Not me. Again, I want to thank
everybody has Birdman on their list, and we're just waiting for it. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting, man. That's great.
I want to thank everybody for being in the chat active. Again, these episodes are doing really well.
I got fucking Paul on my side. Y'all sit the fuck down.
Yeah, he likes High School Musical. We judge him for too. These shows are doing really well right now. A lot of people, I think, are liking the walk through the top 100. It makes me want to do a little bit more of these. I appreciate for everybody tuning in. I appreciate the 4 people for putting through hell every week to talk about movies they love. I didn't stutter. So yeah, I already have people wanting to be in the next one. So again, it's going to be a great time. Just to let everybody know, my next top 100 will be next year around this time. It will be live, hopefully, and it will be hosted by Kirk, and I will be on the panel. So I have to now endure hell. But again, we will be going back soon. We only got a couple more episodes of this version, and then me and Koho will be behind the scenes coming up with topics. Again, if you ever think about hosting a show, you want to host an episode, come up with a topic. If I think you'll be a good enough host, I'll let you host one.
Doug's coming right now.
Twohig, trade on the market right now. Twohig for a loaf of bread. Anybody want them? No. Ooh, that'd be interesting.
That'd be
with me and Paul. Oh wow, I don't want to be on that show. Never mind. No, but again, we have a full year to come up with a list. So watch some movies that you haven't seen. Get past the 2010s. But again, we'll have a full list of stuff when we come back to normal. Again, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
You better lawyer up, asshole. Because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
Get what you fucking deserve!
Return to your lady friend. Duncan, please return to your lady friend.
Long live the king.
Hasta la vista, baby.